beginning of this conference actually started, I would say, about 5 or 6 months ago. And I don't remember really being serious about the conference until about that time. I'd heard Arthur talk with Phil Lane about the possibility of a conference and mentioning it to Freddie through the school. But I never knew for sure that 6 months later we'd be sitting here all together, learning so much from each other and sharing so much from each other.
The Sharing Innovations at Work Conference, the first international community-based conference that brought together tribes and bands from across the United States and Canada, had as its focus the coming together to share the good things we have as Native people, to share with the respect to those 4 directions that were included in all the ceremonies that took place during the days of the conference, preceding and following the conference.
My name is Charlene Bellew. I'm the leader of the people here at Alkali Lake. And it's a real privilege and honor to be leading these people in this time. I really felt good and I felt strong participating in this morning's ceremonies. I really feel happy for people that have come to join us from the east. People have come from as far away as Nova Scotia, Quebec, Ontario, Saskatchewan, Alberta. Traveled long ways to be here with us for 5 days. And we really respect and show our appreciation to you by preparing for you. This gathering will be a landmark in Alkali's history, where we've taken time to reach out to other people and show you what we have here. And we've got a lot to give you. We just ask you to open your hearts, open your minds, open your ears, and listen to what we have to share with you. And we're really proud of who we are, where we're from, and where the reserve has come from in the last 15 years. Sitting in the circle this morning shows me that our people will have life again, because it was only 15 years ago that Alkali was dying. We had the same statistics that you are suffering with today. People were dying week after week. People were committing suicide week after week. Our children were being lost to human resources. All of the things that are happening in your communities now were happening here at Alkali Lake up to 15 years ago. But it's taken the courage and the strength of a few individuals that you'll have a chance to meet in the coming week that have been able to turn that around and show themselves first that this reserve and any reserve that you come from and communities that you come from can be like Alkali Lake. And that was part of us wanting to host this conference, is for you to see and believe that your people no longer have to suffer, that our young people will have a future. And I really admire you for taking that first step to travel a few thousand miles to be here with us this week so that you can learn.
Our hope is that by the time we leave here, we will know completely and without question that we can work together as organizations, as individuals, as bands, and we can enjoy ourselves working together without needing alcohol, drugs, or anything else that hurts our spirit or hurts our loved ones. So that's our prayer.
Yeah, I'm still struggling with alcohol. You know, I see people in my community, even my mother is still drinking. And, you know, it's really hard. You know, knowing that, like, my dad passed away and because of alcohol, like, it really hurt me inside. But after what the person said at the sweat lodge, like, you know, it gives me a little strength. And what I like to do when I go back to my home community is I'm going to really seriously think about this alcohol and really deal with it once and for all.
Alcohol programs were created in one sense to provide treatment and rehabilitation. So much of the time our focus has been put on treatment and rehabilitation. Today we're beginning to see the need to go back, and I'm a recovered alcoholic myself. I spent 20 years on those skid roads in Seattle. So when I say this, I don't mean this in an offensive way. But we have to take time to examine how much of our energy is going to be spent chasing drunks. When a person contracts this disease, alcoholism, they are sick and suffering. It's not a question of being bad. Mind you, some of the things that we might do under the influence of alcohol, sure. We're not saying it's good for a man to abuse his woman, neglect his children, to take the life of another person. No, we're not saying that. But we are saying that the behavior of an individual under the influence of alcohol is a sickness and a disease, and we call that alcoholism.
This place has given me strength. I've traveled a real rough road out there in the white community. I've seen a lot of things. I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of. But today I'm doing my best. And I pray to my Creator every day to give me strength not to ever touch alcohol, because that was my downfall. And I'm really grateful for my daughter, Frida, because she's okay today. God gave me her in a whole body, that she is not deformed in any way from alcoholism and drugs. And I thank Him every day for giving me that little child. And I thank my relatives from the blood reserves, my grandmothers, for giving me strength, for talking to me to go on, be strong for my people. Because 5 years ago, I was down in the dumps, down in the gutter, walking the streets, don't know where I was going. I did not have any culture. I didn't even know my people. I was ashamed of my people, but today I'm very proud. And I'm really honored that you are here in my community to share this great event. That we bring all our brothers and sisters together and be as one, to be united, because we need to be together to fight this terrible disease, alcohol.
I really felt good about the cultural and the spiritual activities that were performed during the conference. Again, I've been to a lot of conferences where if those kind of special ceremonies were held in conjunction with the conference and the people that participated really knew what was going on, the strength and the power of the elders and the people would be with the leaders all the time. But that doesn't happen all the time, so conferences lose a lot of their strength and power by not involving cultural or spiritual activities during their conferences. And that's what we had here. Those kind of activities drew people to the circle and pulled them together as one. And it was really good to see.
I'm glad the Creator taught me the cultures of our people, so I can revive it to my generation, so I can grasp it and revive it and get it alive So many of the songs and many of the dances are fading away. But it's up to us, which know a little bit, to pass it on, to keep it alive. I wasn't allowed to speak my native tongue when I was going to residential school. I used to get strapped if I spoke my own tongue. But as the years go by, as I watch the schools, they didn't allow native tongue when I was going to school. But now it turned around. They're trying to teach culture in native in school now today. You can see how mixed up the government was that time. But I'm glad it turned around. They're trying to teach it in schools now because they know it's fading away.
And I used to come to visit the school every day after I was chief for a year or after being elected chief. And I would see those kids and I'd go home and I'd cry just to see those kids come into that school. And if I wanted a boost towards my sobriety, I would come to the school Monday morning and see those kids coming in. Some of them never changed their clothes sometimes, maybe for a week. And their parents were still drinking, and it was really bad. And the parents were walking around on one end of the reserve carrying bottles of wine, sometimes 5 or 6 of them walking down the street, down the middle of the reserve, holding hands, laughing, kicking, but their children were in school, dirty, haven't been fed. And that used to just give me that energy. After 2 years, finally we had 4 people. 2 years of struggle. And we finally had 2. And then 3. 1975, when the rejection of funds came on, everybody wanted sober. No more social assistance, they were just getting what they need out of the band office. And just paying the bills, only on what they needed. All of a sudden, everybody having birthdays. And that was the turning point. 1975.
The Alkali Lake Indian Band has a great, great gift it gives the human family, in that they have faced and conquered problems that are plaguing the entire human race. Because in looking at the world around us, we can see that alcohol and drugs are connected to everything. And they face that problem. And they're a living example of the prophecies of our elders from many, many different tribes that told us that after a long winter time, we would arise to a new springtime and be able to really transform the world. So we realized that a community like Alkali Lake, having such a great history in terms of what they've been able to do, would be a perfect place to see in action what all the rest of us could do in other communities.
I don't know if we had enough seeds. This is our gift from Alkali Lake. We pick it here from our land. Take it home with you. Take that strength home with you. When things get down, you're feeling low, use it. You drummers, use it on your drum to keep your drum strong.
Most of you people heard the wonderful words that the people have come up with, and we all know this is the only survival performance that can be conducted by the native people. All the problems that we heard today without people getting into different type of troubles. If the people will convince themselves to stand up, commit themselves to have a complete faith with our Creator, they will find the solution. I've seen people do that.
The class of 99.
We honor our youth, so tonight they could have the strength for the next few years, so that they could have the opportunity to finish their education.
The day has come when we will truly understand the sacred teaching of all our tribes, that the hurt of one is the hurt of all, and the honor of one is the honor of all. And as long as any of our relatives are laying in the streets with no place to sleep, we are right there with them. And I think that no truer has that teaching been expressed than here at Alkali Lake, where they recognized that the honor of one is the honor of all. And they recognized that if a person has 10 bad qualities and 1 good quality, look at the good. They saw the good in one another.
When Nietzsche first came around, Phyllis or Charlene that stopped in and asked me if I wanted to go to this training. And I'm really glad I did. I really realized that alcoholism is a disease. And I really, for the first time, started to control my own life, because even though I'm not an alcoholic, alcoholism was controlling my life, my family's life. Because I handled my husband the wrong way for 5 years. I called him down. I did everything I could to really worsen things, you know. And then learning about it later, I realized things that I'd done was just increased his drinking and made it worse. So through the Nietzsche training, I started living my own life for a change. Started planning, started doing things on my own for my children. I left my husband, moved back to Alkali Lake, where there was a lot of support here in my family.
I want to be strong. I want to ask the Creator to give me strength, give me the wisdom and knowledge, and give me faith in my brothers and sisters so I could do the same thing and walk in a clear path where I'm supposed to go. I got my own life to lead. I want to make the best out of it. I want to enjoy life. When I see other people happy, I want to be happy too. I can't be happy having booze. I want to use my mind. God gave me a mind to use, I want to use it. I don't want to kill it by alcohol. It kills your brain cells. That's what they say. And I'm going to do my best. I'm not going to turn to booze anymore. I found too many bad things about it, like what it does to you. Sometimes, like, you figure you're strong, but actually you're not. You may be physically strong, but, you know, like, booze will kill that body of yours, make it weak. But now that I came here, like, I'm really happy that I participated in the programs that I wanted to get into. And be able to go back to my chief, let him know, like, where I am.
After we have touched one another's hearts and built bridges and done all kinds of things, let's look around the group now and look at one another and see if we respond and feel differently towards one another than we did when we first came into the workshop. Well, from the looks on your faces, no one has to say anything.
More and more people are beginning to lead a good life and choosing what we call the Sweetgrass Road. When I went down to the Sweat, I thought that there would only be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of us. And when I got there, there were 4 sweats in all 4 directions. I mean, I walked there and there were up to 30 and 40 people lined up at each sweat to go in with the elders. I mean, that's something that is really special for the gathering. Is also, besides coming in to learn about all of the economic development, all of the education, social development, and all of the other things that the band has to offer them, they've come to the sweats and to the spiritual beliefs of our people. And it was a really good feeling to see, you know, all 100 or 120 of us sweating together all at the same time. And that is really, I thought, was another highlight of the conference itself. A lot of these people knew that when they came in, that they would have to pay their own way here. We would take care of them during the conference in accommodation and meals. All there was that they had to pay was a $25 registration fee, which would give them all of the pamphlets, booklets, anything that would come out of the conference. But I really feel a lot of the success of them learning what they've come here for is by having to pay their own way here and having to leave their families for 5 days and making that personal commitment that they want to come and learn. And that's a first step for a lot of people out there.
We had good visitors from the west who brought us thunder and rain. And really that was an amazing thing, that thunder and that rain, because all the different tribes who at the beginning of the conference were in their own groups, because of that thunder and rain from the Creator, were gathered together in that gym, elbow to elbow. And at that point, nobody cared or really was concerned about what tribe was what and who was who. We were all there together in awe of the same power which brought us there together to really share. And at that point, it seemed like there was no such a thing as a reservation Indian or reserve Indian or an urban Indian or Métis or non-status or status. We were essentially a group of the human family. At that time, we were members of the human family together for one purpose, and that was to create a better vision for ourselves and our children and those yet unborn.
Conference, I guess such as this, should be held at community level. To us, you know, it finally came true. A dream, you know, came true to us. This is what we've talked about for a long time. And, you know, conferences in the future should be held, you know, at community level. That way, you can get the feelings. You can get the spirits, the power and the strength, you know, from the community.
The purpose here was to share all the good things we had and put those all together for something even greater. To truly be able to unite our forces so by the year 2000, we can eliminate alcohol and drug abuse from Native societies. And through that accomplishment, since we know that the hurt of one is the hurt of all, it will in fact affect the entire human family and be a light to a world that really has brought itself to the brink of destruction. And instead of destroying ourselves, we'll bring about a unity that we can all celebrate in, no matter where we're from.